Here hex 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 hex. Here hex 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 hex. Here hex 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 hex. Here hex 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 hex.
Hey everybody, welcome to another HEX Guild episode. I've gotten my days and nights mixed up. I'm over here in Texas. I apologize. We should have convened with Finbear earlier, maybe about 12 hours. Yeah, exactly 12 hours ago. Apologies. I haven't gotten in touch with those guys. I mean, I put it in the chat. If they come, okay, cool. Marcus is awake, but he won't be able to join us. Diraj had told me that he wasn't going to make it this week. But he did do Hex Asians 2 days ago. I am drinking some nettle tea out of a coffee mug that one of my exes did not take with her. I don't like that ex very much. She's the one that would fight me tooth and nail. And I had to be like a father to her. My goodness. She went down to the liberal arts university, and at the time I didn't know enough about what I wanted with the relationship, so I allowed things to progress and blah 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 blah. So that's why Diraj and I both think the same way about Valentine's Day, where we just laugh it off. But guys, what's going on in the markets? What's happening inside of our community? What is this that, Moondog has put in our chat today? What has Richard Hart been tweeting about? So everybody's been like, oh, come on, Richard. Like, give us some tweets, give us some streams, right? Then he goes and he gives us a nudge in the right direction, and it just splinters everybody's opinions. So the best thing that I can tell you people, all of you Hex Foodies, Hex Guild members, the best thing that I can tell you, when you're onboarding people, take them to Pulse Chain. Get them Pulse Chain Hex. Have them stake on Pulse Chain. We don't know what's going to happen to the Ethereum fees. Richard tweeted out saying that Ethereum fees are too expensive and that obviously PHEX is better than EHEX. Crypto Coffee is one of the people who said the old EHEX is now the Hex Classic. I kind of like that terminology. And the new Hex, PHEX, is just Hex. And we've been talking about this for a while. People like Highway, Hex is the Way, who is now DCA Pulse. These guys have been, he's one of the people who have been saying we need to focus our economic buy support, our economic value needs to be funneled into just one hex. We don't have a large enough community onboarding and buying enough hex to support both hexes. Now, guys, I am way down on my market projections. If you look at my staked hex on eHex, it got obliterated. I don't even want to say the number. I was having dinner with my dad the other night. I took him out, by the way. We went to a libertarian meetup. We sat at the bar, waited for the thing to start. So we got some drinks. I paid for those. We left there. We went and had dinner at another place. I had a steak. He had a burger. I got him the top shelf bourbon. I had medium shelf. Like, I got him a $48 bourbon at a bar or restaurant. Paid for it all, but I told him there have been some crazy ups and downs, and I am not going to tell you the the stuff because it would scare the shit out of him. It would scare the shit out of you guys. Look, Richard made one tweet that said Hex is better than EHEX. And it has so many different community opinions on it. And then not only are there different community opinions on the the product and how everything's all set up, but also there's opinions on whether Richard did the right thing. Everybody wants to go after him for being straightforward, saying that, oh, well, I can imagine a lawsuit coming up, you know, as a CEO of something, you shouldn't make statements like that. People had value here or there, and how dare he do it so rash? This is not a leader type of thing. You know, I think eventually Richard's just gonna say, "Fuck you, I'm not a leader, I'm a creator." I think that might actually be where he's gonna go with this. You guys know that he's an air sign? So, I'm witnessing a little bit, from a lot of the fire signs, and I'm wondering if I'm witnessing some stuff from the water signs also. Like, I'm wondering if there's a rhyme to everything that's going on. So, I feel sorry for some guys that were holding EHEX liquid. I feel sorry for people and their onboards that went into EHEX and hadn't yet staked it, because they hit basically like a 45% drop immediately whenever Richard said that, whenever he tweeted this. And Richard's been really active tweeting lately. Now, Richard tweets like 8 hours later saying every raindrop doesn't think that it's a part of the flood. That was a pretty interesting quote. He also tweeted what is the thumbnail to this video, where I'm not sure what movie it's from, but a guy gets up on stage and he shoots the person who's being interviewed, and then he's facing the crowd. And so the text says, why did you do that? And what it's saying is like, yeah, I said something, but you guys were the ones who sold it. Y'all sold down the value. And I can understand that. I can understand both sides, but I'm siding with Richard. And the reason why I'm siding with Richard is because he's saying, it's back to exactly what I said in the beginning. He's saying exactly what the community needed to polish off. We know that PHEX is better than EHEX. We know that we need to migrate over. We know that our purchasing power needs to be focused in one place. So I personally think, and I posted a video that was a small, like 11-minute video trying to get my thoughts out yesterday, because I'm trying to be responsible in this time where we're going through some waves, we're going through some ups and downs. This is not over, folks. EHEX is gonna go down. EHEX is not gonna be the same for 3 fucking years. I'm warning you. We're moving on. People are scooping up the cheap EHEX, but it might follow PHEX in this next in this bull that we're going through right now. It might follow it with a ratio of 1 to 10 or 1 to 6. But people are going to continue to sell EHEX and move their EHEX. Like all these early OGs, they're going to be moving their EHEX value over to PHEX. Now, the EHEX fees might go down at some point, and then it'll make it feasible for onboarding. And it'll, like, my arguments always been like, people are familiar with Ethereum, so maybe their first run of HEX is going to be using Ethereum. What was the other thing I was going to say? I think that players large and small, like speculators large and small, are going to be trading EHEX. I think that whenever it is that we finally find a bottom of EHEX, which is going to be, probably 3 years from now, I think people are going to scoop up a shit ton of it, and I might be one of those, to spend, I don't know, $10,000 to try to get as many millions of EHEX as possible, and then stake it out for 10 to 15 years and just have it as a gambling game. Like, let's see where it'll go. I'm willing to do this. I still believe EHEX still works. There's no problem with EHEX. It's just that we know which one's the better one, and we know which one we need to focus on. Because whenever you're a person like me and you're making business cards and you're making postcards and you're running meetups out on the sidewalk talking to people, just random people, and 100 of them in a night, where are you going to send them? Uniswap doesn't deal with EHEX anymore. Like, I heard that Rabby Wallet's having some issues right now. Now, Hex Scout just had a chatting with the captain video just now. And Hex Scout, that's an awesome tool. But like, and it stands out, and that's why I mention it right now. But like, we're continuing to develop tools and continuing to lay out everything before we cook our recipe. Like, we're organizing the kitchen right now for our bull run. The oven's warming up. We're organizing our ingredients, getting them ready to really make some cool shit. Now, this evening, we've taken a little bit of a hit. All of Pulse Chain is down a little bit. But earlier today, Ink was at $9.50. Regular Hex was looking pretty good. 1.9 or 1.85 or 1.87, something like that. People were buying Pulse X. Pulse Chain's still way above the SAC price. Everything's golden. We have so much to look forward to, but there are fucking snakes in the grass, and they're coming out. They're coming out in Twitter Spaces like crazy. I've been witnessing at Twitter Spaces. There are tons of memes where the Tang Gang is going all over Richard, and then the split of the two Tang Gangs are going all over Richard. There are Bitcoiners entering our hexagon spaces, our pure hexagon spaces, just trying to divide us, just trying to make arguments, to be absolute assholes. And so we're having to recognize, like, we're in a new era, and we're going to have to have new norms in dealing with folks. So I've also put out on Twitter an analogy of this is like a mother kicking her 19-year-old son out of the house and telling him, all right, go experience life. I'm sorry. Yeah, it sucks. But this is the way it is. You need to go forward and learn. You've got all the tools. What else do we have? So I feel sorry for the folks who are brand new to EHEX and hadn't staked, weren't earning interest and locked up to where they can keep their eye off of it. Locked up for a long time period, earning interest. And then I also feel sorry for people if they have experienced impermanent loss in the farms. I don't know so much that if people have done that, because I think the folks who had the farm EHEX PHEX pair, I think those people were just fine with getting more EHEX whenever it is that folks are bringing it in, or not bringing it in, but selling it off and trading. Yeah, bringing it in, right? Because you would bridge it over from Ethereum. Okay. So people like myself, these old Hexagon OGs, we've been listening to folks like Highway, and I think Brizology is like this, saying that we need to focus on just one hex. And it sucks. It's gonna hurt. And it's like I don't want to EES all my E hex. I I don't I don't want to take a huge cut. Well, the projection, the scope, you have this much in the future times the price of what it is now. That went ahead and took that hit anyway. And it's just something that we were gonna have to deal with at some point. And that's not to say that that pulse chain could find a dollar. Pulse chain hex could find it a price of $1, and then ehex could be at 10 cents, which is way above what it is right now. It could happen. So I'm not saying it's dead. I'm just saying that it's not, probably not going to be desired um or focused on by the community at whole, because Richard has pointed in the right direction. Um and then also there's hexologists who points back to our big payday, where all of us hexicans that were staked, and we were staked all the way through big payday, no problem. We thought we were going to get a plus 200%. So we were going to have 300% bags at the end of big payday if everything just goes accordingly. And then as we were approaching big payday, more and more people heard about HEX, heard about the big payday offer, what was going to happen in the code, it was going to pay out. So they came over and they were like, okay, well, I'm only going to stake that one day. So they would come in, buy some HEX, stake that one day, thinking that they were gonna, triple their bags or double their bags. Triple? Yeah, triple what they were, um, you know, make $100 turn into $300 and dump it right on our heads and have nothing to do with HEX afterwards. Well, the OA came in and they staked their HEX as well. And they made it to where that brought down the payout to 60%, in my opinion. So Hexo said 35%. RG3 said it was 30, 40%. I say it was 60%. I think that we ended up with 160% of our bag, coasting past big payday. And that was a gut wrenching time. That was a time where you like it worked on your stomach. And I remember it well. But I also remember time periods before that, where I'm anteing up ETH, and I wanted so much more HEX for my ETH. And I was just like, what the hell is happening here? Why is it that the amount of ETH that's anteed into this lobby just keeps on going up? And so that was another time where it was just like angst. It was just like, I want more of this. But what was happening was all of these other people were in the same situation that I was. And it was making it to where the product was rare and sought after. And it was maintaining the price of that product. And I think back to like whenever it was that I first heard Richard say, I give people good deals. No one has felt like they've been ripped off from me. He thinks about what position we're in and what selfish moves we would try to make. And somehow it's limited. Somehow we're limited to a certain amount to where we don't have the hugest steal when we play the game, but we get enough to have a good payout. And it all makes sense in the end. So I think that's what's happening here. Is it's kind of like with this EHEX spawning PHEX, and with the copies over there on Pulse Chain, if it is that you were staked, you got your copies, or even the liquidity, the liquid, you got a good deal. You didn't get double. You didn't get 180%. Instead, it looks like we might have only gotten, a plus 30%. You know what I mean? So we're not dead, folks. We're actually in a very good position. But I think it's like we've got the oven heating up and we're getting all the ingredients ready in the kitchen. And we got our recipe out. We know how we're going to make it. And it's just a matter of time. So if you guys can chill out, everything's going to be okay. If you're not even on Twitter, you haven't been experiencing or recognizing all the different perspectives, and I don't really have the right words because I don't really think about the negative trolling type of wording, but there are people who are making it known how they've always felt about Richard, now that they have something to complain about, which is a tweet. And then after that initial tweet, Richard responded to the way that people responded about it. And he was just continuing to state facts, and people were taking it as they're like he's taunting the way that he bullied or abused people. So I hope that I've given y'all some perspectives to think about. And I just want y'all to know that everything's fine. So let's go to some comments. Bulltard is here. Namaste, Daraj. Pulse DCA, I mentioned you earlier. What up, Hex Monkey? Finbear, good morning. Pulse DCA says that the Rabby wallet's working just fine. Okay. All right, guys. I just need to come on here and, I don't know, set the stage for the guild group. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for Hex Futures yet, because Hex Futures is more like an outward looking, like I've been trying to make it to where like not necessarily Hexicans only are watching that, but then the Hex guilds, this is meant to be like a weekly meeting so that everybody can get on the same page. As Pulse DCA is saying, stay positive, everyone. And we're over on Twitter basically every day, and so we're seeing this stuff. We're taking it on head first as the waves are coming in. And and RG3 said, hey, at the end of the week, on Friday night, he'll have the effing hangout. So if it is that anybody wants to come on there and throw their grievances at everybody, go ahead and do it. I've been thinking about going on there because I want to get more mail out to everybody. So everybody hit me up if you want some mail. I'll check y'all later. Peace.